castle, it would probably be a mistake to play knight f4 right away because of take, e5. And this is probably slightly better for white. But that's why he should play knight d7, preparing to play knight f4. So if g3, then queen f3, and black is much better. g3 would be a big positional blunder. But if f3, then just knight f4, and the position is probably equal. Maybe he'll be able to eventually take here and play something like this with f5. So black appears to be doing quite well there. And after c5, if knight e2, he can simply take, play b6, castle, and knight c6, which was recently played in an Iranian GM's games. So it appeared that black was doing well there too. But the most dynamic way to play the position, which is my personal favorite, is knight bd7, bishop d3, and c5. And so the main idea is very interesting. I think this line, this was one of the most interesting lines here with f4. And look at the position a minute and think if you can see what black's main idea is here. What is the idea of this whole setup? Of course, it would be a mistake to play e5, knight f3, take, and castle. And when he regains the pawn, I think white is just better here in the center. And he'll play probably his a1 rook to e1. But the best move is this very strong move b5. And so after c takes b5, there was one game with the young grandmaster, I think he's a grandmaster, Bromberger, against Fedorchuk. And Fedorchuk played incorrectly with take, bishop b7, knight f3, queen c8, and he took and played e4, e5, and white was just much better. But Fedorchuk missed the correct idea. The correct idea is to try to play for c4 and try to dominate in the center here and open up the c file, exploiting the weak c3 pawn, exploiting the weak center. So basically, if knight f3 here, now you can play c4, take, bishop d3, take, and you play a6. And one line that I analyzed here was c4, queen c7, castle, and rook fc8. And it's almost like an excellent type of Benko position. Knight d2 and knight b6 looks very good for black. And so I'll go back to e5, which I viewed as the main line. And now he has to find the very, very nice idea playing c4. Bishop takes c4, d takes e5, f takes e5, knight e4. And again, you can see how everything fits together perfectly. You have threats of queen h4 check. The bishop is very awkward. You have play like rook c8. Everything is looking excellent here. So if bishop d3, you have check. And you can even play f6 if you'd like. Take, with full compensation for black here. And nice pressure. But the strongest after bishop d3 might just be knight g3 check and rook c8, and it's very, very difficult to stop this idea of rook takes c3 here. For example, rook c1, and black has an extremely strong attack after knight b6. So I'll go back again. And if knight f3, it's stopping queen h4 check. Now you play rook c8. Queen b3 is a mistake because of knight b6. And then c3 is falling. But bishop d3, take, and queen e2. And again, black needs to find extremely accurate moves all the way, knight c5. Now if you take, rook takes, and you play c6, which looks like it might be winning a piece, but there's the very strong sequence check, king f1, queen takes b5, and if knight e1, you simply take with the bishop. If knight takes d3, knight c3 is very strong, and he loses the knight on d3. If queen takes, then queen takes e5 looks very strong, attacking the rook and also threatening to play bishop b5. So if I go back a few more moves, let's see here. C takes b7, and now knight c3, and black wins with the threats of rook takes f3 or rook d1 check. Everything looks excellent for black. So anyways, I'll go back a couple more moves, and let me see here. Knight e1, bishop takes. Yeah, this line looks very strong. And bishop takes e4, bishop takes e4, castle. And there are a couple more moves I analyzed. Rook b4, 3, a4, knight c3, and this line was perpetual check, bishop takes f3, check, take, and perpetual here. And there was one other line here with queen a5, which I think is the strongest. And if knight g5, you can just play rook takes c1. But if bishop d2, take, take, rook fc8, take, take, and queen takes b5. And take, take, queen takes b5. And I think that the endgame is just slightly better for black. So the whole line looks very good for black. And I need to go back to more challenging line, but it's very interesting that f4 is met by b5. Central play met by a strong counterattack on the side. So knight e2 is the main move, queen c7. And again, black has a very nice idea of playing b5. And the problem is, if you play rook b1, which looks like an interesting move to stop b5, you still can't stop it. See, for example, you could play b6 and bishop a6 with pressure there. Bishop e3, rook c8, queen b7, h3 maybe, rook fe8. And black has pretty good play here. But you can actually just play b5 right away. Take and bishop a6, rook b1, h6, castle, and knight b6. And nevertheless, it appears that black just wins the c4 pawn. So b5 was still possible. And in this line, black is just slightly better even. Queen f3 and queen e7, and black is slightly better. So here, one of the main moves is knight g3. And you still just play b5, take, and a6, take, take, take. And it's like a Benko Gambit type of position, but very comfortable for black. And in this game, Kasimdzhanov Eljanov, black was able to regain the a5 pawn and draw. So going back, it appears that a4 is really the only move to stop b5. But after b6, bishop a6, rook ac8, putting pressure on the c4 pawn, he moves his queen out of the way and doubles rooks, rook c7. If knight g3, take, take, and g6 with a solid position. Rook fc8, knight g4, hitting the e3 bishop. And in this position, after bishop takes c4, it appears that it's very complex, but that black seems to be doing just fine here. So anyways, it appears that after queen c2, black